All right, okay, should be recording. Thank you for joining us this morning. This is the ISLE Rails Roundtable, and the topic this morning is public school summer reading collaborations. And I'm really excited. We've recruited a bunch of great speakers, and I think we're gonna have a bunch of time for question and A or Q&A, so look forward to that. Let's just take a quick look at our schedule. In a second here, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Becky Robinson, who's going to do the introductions and welcome. And then we're going to have three presentations, a bunch of them talking about how they work together with public and school librarians to do summer reading, especially this year where things are very, very different. So looking forward to that. We'll do a Q&A, and then Becky will come back to do our question and answer, or to do our conclusion and wrap up, excuse me. So I just want to note, we're going to do Q&A a little bit different. You should see a Q&A option in your toolbar, and you can ask your questions there. We encourage you to do so. That will kind of help keep it organized. If you want to put people's names, so the presenters' names in there, that will help us as well. You know, you can say like, hey, I have a question for X. Also want to note that you can upvote other people's questions. So instead of getting the same question repeated, you know, if you see a question that you also have, just click that thumbs up button, and I'm circling it right now, and that will indicate who you want us to ask a question to. So we'll do that at the end. As I mentioned, we have 15 minutes to do so, but this will just kind of help us organize that a little bit. So thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so with that housekeeping taken care of, I am going to turn it over to my colleague, Becky Robinson, who is the Executive Secretary of ISLE. Becky, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am coming to you from the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri on a family vacation. You know, bear with me. I'm sitting on the bed. The wonders of Zoom. Anyway, I'm very, very excited about this webinar today because we have some great people with great ideas to share. And this all came about because of ISLE and Rails partnership, something that we've been strongly believed in for quite some time. And we thought, what could we do? What could we present that would help both school librarians and public librarians, teen, youth services, whatever. And we came up with a summer reading program idea because I know in the past I've collaborated with my teen and children's librarian in the various schools that I've worked with. And I know it was just such a big help to promote reading for our students throughout the summer. And so I know this year looks different, and that's part of the challenge, but I know the people who are going to be talking today are up to the challenge. So we have presenting, and I want to thank them so much for agreeing to be a part of this presentation. We have Kara DeCarlo from Orland Park Public Library. She's youth services and the school liaison. And with her is Kristy Gilbert, the school librarian at High Point School. So they're going to be the part of the first presentation. Then Monica Dzierzbicki from Youth Services, again, from Indian Prairie Public Library. And her partner, Diane Nelson, who is the district teacher librarian at Darien School District 61. Yeah, District 61. So they're going to be doing the second presentation. The third presentation will be Edison, the young adult librarian from Batavia Public Library, and her partner is Aimee Miller, the LRC director from Batavia High School and a board member for ISLE, I might add. And then our last presentation is Kathryn Wellington from Lake Forest Public Library, and she's the youth services librarian. So as you can see, we have a great lineup for you, and I welcome all of you to this presentation. Dan, thanks for everything you're doing behind the scenes. So let's get started with Kara and Kristy.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and Karen, Kristy are gonna share those. So we'll do. You may see a little bit of a blank screen here, uh, and so it's always a little bit of a trick to hand these things off. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Okay.
We're ready. Okay. Whoops. Sorry about that. Okay.
Okay, so Orland Park is a community of about 60,000 people. We're one of the larger southwest suburbs of Chicago. Kristy and I have been collaborating for 4 years now on various things. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've done in the past and then tell you about what we've done for this year. All right, so last year, I would go in and do regular book talks at High Point. High Point serves students in grades 3, 4, and 5. And then I would also go and do a summer reading challenge book talk specific for that. We do our summer reading on Beanstack, and because Orland Park has incorporated and unincorporated areas, any child who goes to an Orland Park school can participate in our summer reading. They don't need to have a library card to do that. And then Kristy does a summer reading series of her own through the school, and I was able to participate in that last summer. I came to the school a couple of times and I brought some crafts with me. I brought the button maker, which was a hit. I brought Ozobots, which are the small robots that you code using markers. And then in turn, we hosted a summer series event here where we did a scavenger hunt for the kids. And they had to go through the department and find different materials. They had to find a catalog computer. They had to talk to librarians. And that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I want to add to that. At High Point School, I've been very fortunate to have very supportive administrators. And for the past several years, we've done, kind of in conjunction with the public library summer reading program, our own little mini summer series, we call it. And it was always in person. And so this is the first year that we've kind of had to adapt our school summer program to something that we could do entirely virtual. So I have here on the screen the first week of activities in our digital summer series. And you can see here that we are focusing our entire program on the Jungle Book. We were able to get copies for all of our students. Scholastic had them for $1.50. And along with the book, we have access to a seesaw class where we will be working with all of our incoming students and current students, collaborating, sharing ideas. Over on the right side on that wooden signpost are all of our digital activities that are going on this week. And they go along with the chapters in the book that we were reading for this week. Every week we have an art project, something kind of physical activity related. So we have charades this week, a reading activity, and then a STEM activity. And then the kids can do those activities with their family, post on Seesaw, and we can all kind of collaborate and share. And then we have a weekly Zoom. And our first one is happening actually in just a little while. Our art teacher is leading a little lesson on how to make one of these Indian mandala artworks. So it's just a fun way for our school community to kind of come together and especially to prepare our incoming students with meeting our staff and all of that. And of course, in planning, we always start by going to Kara and saying, what can you do for us? What can you add to our summer program to show the kids that we have a really good collaborative relationship and that we're all here for the same purpose, to help them become lifelong learners, lifelong readers, and all of that. So that brings us to what Kara is doing for us for our Jungle Book program. And Kara, if you wanted to kind of explain your role.
Sure. So our library is huge. It's about 100,000 square feet. But because of the current coronavirus, we aren't having people come in just yet. So we're going to host an activity outdoors. We have a covered outdoor area. And so students will get the opportunity to come, and we're going to die cut jungle animals, and they're going to decorate them. And then we're going to put them up on a bulletin board in the building, take a picture, and put that up on our social media, and it will be a virtual I Spy. So, you know, they'll come, we'll have the animals, we'll have the art supplies in a little baggie. They'll go off, you know, social distance, decorate the things, bring them back, drop them in a box, and then I'll put them up. And then Kristy invited me to join into some of their activities during Zoom meetings.
We have a very exciting, I think, bingo game for the week that Kara is joining us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And just to add on top of this, and we have a great collaborative relationship all year long. I mean, we do a Blue Stem Battle of the Books together. We do book talks, and I was super lucky that Kara was so willing to provide us with digital material while we were e-learning. So for example, she had done video book talks of how to access Libby for our students and how to check out books that way. And she did book talks of books that were available on Libby, which was really cool. And we were able to incorporate that in some of our ending lessons this year. She did a virtual summer reading promotion video and all of that. So I'm very lucky as we've switched over to the e-learning component that we've had such a good relationship, and it's so seamless for the kids to access school library, public library, all of that together.
Oh, and I wanted to mention High Point is a one-to-one school, so every child gets an iPad. And we worked with the school district this past year to get the Libby app installed on the school iPads. So in addition to offering digital cards for the kids, all the kids have access to library books through their school iPad.
And that's what we wanted to share with you today. We hope that you have questions for us for the question and answer period, but thank you very much. I will stop our share here so that we can switch to the next presentation. Thank you.
Great, thank you both. Okay, so Monica, I believe you're going to be loading up your share.
Yes. Let's put it on presentation.
Awesome.
Okay, and I'm Monica Dzierzbicki from Indian Prairie Public Library. We're kind of close to where Downers Grove is, and Diane Nelson, my partner today from District 61, and I are going to kind of bounce back and forth between for each of our screens. So Indian Prairie Library is a medium-sized library, and we serve about 6 different school districts, and with that, each one of those school districts is different. So how we work with them and how we work with those private parochial homeschools are all different. We are lucky enough to have our kids and teens group that goes from birth all the way through 12th grade. So we have a team of people who focus on services for our high schools and our early literacy programs with pre-K services or Head Start services that we have in the community. And in addition to that, we have a really widespread area, being a district library that we serve. So it lets us be really creative and as supportive as the schools need. So now I'm going to turn it over to Diane. If Diane is there.
Hi,
Oh,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm Diane Nelson. I'm the district teacher librarian in Darien School District 61. Our school district has 3 buildings, early childhood through 8th grade. We have about 2,000 students in our buildings. I've got 2 aides. They work at the other libraries in my district, and I teach about 35 classes a week at Mark DeLay School and travel to my other libraries once a week. We circulate about 25,000 books a year. We offer a variety of programs, book fairs, clubs. We collaborate with Indian Prairie Library for different activities, and we have great supportive administrators who support our library program. So I'm really lucky to have this great job here in Darien. It's really a fun place to work.
So for our past collaborations, Diane's going to share some things.
We have, for the past collaborations around spring break every year, after spring break, Indian Prairie reaches out to all our buildings and we start to schedule in-person meetings with Indian Prairie to go over the summer challenges. They would bring their trophy, their prize trophy, to get kids excited about trying to win the trophy, to have the most participants, and flyers to pass out, print flyers, and we would have assemblies and promote the program that way. So that is what we've done in the past.
And some of the things that we're doing from the library side of things, specifically with District 61, we worked with them on a summer slide parents night, which was really great. There's a lot of times when we're going to do the classroom visits or the assemblies with the school, sometimes the librarians don't have a chance to talk directly to the parents. So it was really helpful to have that, and to have that collaborative support with the schools and the teachers, that this is something that they feel is important to keep that extension going for that summer slide. Although this school year we're hearing talk of the summer avalanche. So we're all looking at some different types of programming that we can do in very different ways. In addition to that, several of our school districts do create, specifically our high schools, but several of our elementary schools will do summer reading required lists for their students. So Indian Prairie maintains those lists. We maintain copies of those books. We try to have ebooks or additional formats available for families and students to meet those requirements from the school. And there's times when we have seen that there's been a real struggle to get a specific book that the school's requiring. So we'll have that conversation with that teacher. And then we also have schools who also use the aisle lists for the Caudles, Monarchs, and Blue Stems and Lincolns as their summer list. So that makes it easy because we do keep multiple copies of that and we maintain our own challenge. So moving on to what we're doing this summer is, it's great to hear that Orland is using Beanstack, because this is our first year to use Beanstack. So we found that the application was easy and something that we could really work with moving forward with the schools and build off of it. One of those things that we've added immediately, just from conversations with our school librarians and some of the school faculty, is we've added the aisle challenges to our Beanstack. So it's an option that students can do, and teachers and school librarians will have a chance over the summertime to take a look at that as well. And we're also doing some tech programs. Of course, we usually do those in person, but right now Indian Prairie Library is still closed to the public. We are hoping to be able to do some outdoor things. We do have a learning STEM garden at the library where we're able to do some outdoor things. Right now, most of our programming is happening virtually through Zoom, mostly Facebook videos as well. And that's coming from a variety of staff who are able to post book talks. We are doing one-to-one book buddies. Normally that happens with our teen volunteers, but this summer we are doing that with staff, and that gives us a lot of different opportunities. Diane?
And from my end, from the school end, our last day of school was May 28th. So working up till May 28th, I got as much information out about our summer reading program as possible. We have, I sent information to each building and asked the teachers to put the information on their Google Classrooms. We also use Seesaw in our early childhood through second grade building, which we advertised. I sent it out through Twitter. And also for people who are, they want print materials, I also made some handouts that are outside the school to get the information out about the summer reading program.
And moving to our last slide here.
So what we did was, shortly after the stay-at-home order came out in the middle of March, Monica reached out to the local school librarians in the area, and we've been holding some really nice Zoom meetings on Thursdays, and Monica's been leading that up. And we've been collaborating and really going through the whole process of the remote teaching together and learning about what each building is working on and how they're dealing with everything that comes up so quickly. So that was very helpful that Indian Prairie coordinated that.
And it's been great for us as well, because this is one of those things that has been an awesome outcome from this situation that we're all finding ourselves in. Is usually we don't find ourselves with that time to be able to individually talk with our school faculty and our school librarians to see what's going on with them and find out things that we have in common that we didn't really know, and how we can really support each other moving forward. So we've actually been able to develop a really great relationship with the majority of our school faculty, and find out ways that we can support all of the schools. Sometimes over the summertime, we're focusing on just one or two of our school districts. We have one of our school districts that we've been doing some shared teaching with over the summertime, and we have another school district that we actually do programs at the school all summer long. But this year we're doing things very differently, as everyone is. And this has been giving us a chance to be really creative and how we can offer support, keep things simple, try not to be overwhelming, try to stay out of everybody's way, and learn from each other. That's the big thing. So now I'm going to stop my share and bring in our next group.
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, Christine and Aimee, you're next.
All right. Okay, so I'm Christine Edison, the young adult librarian at Batavia Public Library. And Aimee?
I'm Aimee Miller, the LRC director at Batavia High School.
And we do a lot of collaboration throughout the year. Our most recent collaboration was on a virtual prom scavenger hunt. We wanted to offer students something fun while they were home. And so we came up with this together. Aimee was great about getting the word out about the program and actually helped find us prizes for all of our 8 participants. So I think that the teens had a lot of fun with that. But we do things throughout the year. But our big area of collaboration is Summer Reading Club. And so year-round, the required reading information is at the reference desk, at the public library, and it is also on our website. And we carry multiple print copies of every title and every format we can find.
We purchase at the high school, we purchase multiple copies of all the summer reading books as well. And then we send those over to the public library for the kids to check them out there over the summer. And during March and April, Christine and I meet about summer reading, and we update if there's new titles, because obviously the classes often change titles. And so Batavia Public also purchases titles for those things.
And I certainly don't have room for 30+ copies of every title, so I really appreciate the high school doing this for us. So in April and May, the 2 of us meet, and then I prepare a video for summer reading, and I've included that in the materials. If you want to watch it later, we don't have to watch it now. Aimee? Okay, so and then you share the video at your presentations for students at Rotolo Middle School and also at the high school.
Absolutely. Sorry, I lost connection there for a minute. So not sure if you had said that, but I make sure typically I would visit all the classes at the high school to tell them about summer reading this year. School closed before I was able to do the video to all students and to all the middle school students as well.
Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the titles? So we've got numerous classes.
Yep, our titles going on, they change, but each of our titles relates to, is going to be used in one of the classes that the students will take in the next fall. So teachers do expect that they have come in having read those, and they each connect to a theme. So we can go through those, Kristy. And then, you know, we make students aware. How do they get the books? Again, we send all our books to Batavia Public. Batavia Public has the books. We have Access 360 both through the high school and Batavia Public. You know, we tell kids they can purchase the books, but they
don't have to, okay. So by June 1st, Rotolo Middle School and Batavia plus copies all of their required reading books to the library, and we have a policy in our Google Drive handouts for you if you want to see that policy. Our head of tech services wants to tell you that it's a work in progress every year, but the books come over, they're unshadowed, they're added into the collection, and that's going to be done this week, to let you know, Aimee. And you can see the way they're stickered on the side of the book. So the pages know exactly where to put these books. They put them on the display carols that you see listed. And so my entire display gets taken over by BHS Summer Reading each year. We also carry copies of the handouts at the reference desk on that display, as well as copies of the summer reading logs. Did you want to add anything, Aimee?
I don't think so. No, the students are pretty versed by this point on where they can get the books. And I think another presenter said that even if students aren't in the public library district, but they go to the Batavia Public Schools, they can still get their summer reading books and participate in summer reading at Batavia Public Library.
Absolutely. And then the freshmen and sophomores come in and get their books early, and inevitably toward the end of July and beginning of August, that's when the juniors and seniors come in, and the seniors, it's usually the last week rush to get their books before they start going back to the high schools. And then at the end of summer reading, I share my statistics for Batavia High School with Aimee. And then 2020 happened, and we had to rethink everything. So what hasn't changed? Well, I still made this year's video in my backyard. And Aimee, you presented to the high school and to the middle school. And did you want to talk about bringing the books over to the library this year?
Well, we presented virtually, and then I did, you know, with masks and everything else, go and get the books from the high school, delivered them to a side door at Batavia Public, undercover, just so we can make sure, because Batavia Public's starting to do curbside this week, and we want to make sure that the books are available for students. We've set up a pretty good track record of kids doing the summer reading with teachers having expectations in the fall, so we did not want that to fall apart because of what's happened. So we wanted to make sure that the materials were ready for students as soon as they could get them.
So there's the summer reading video if you want to watch it. But what has changed this year? So we're also using Beanstack, and it's the first time for us. So that was a learning curve for us. And the other thing that's really changed, we usually go to local vendors for gift certificates and for coupons. This year, we're not going to do that. So instead, we're offering Batavia Chamber Bucks as prizes in twice monthly drawings, as well as a final drawing. And the copies of the books and a special reading challenge for BHS students are on Beanstack, so they can use the app to find out which books are required for their classes. Aimee?
Now, typically, a lot of our students, especially in our honors classes, would have had an assignment to do with their summer reading book over the summer. And we've been told by our school district that we can't have any assignments connected to summer reading other than just reading this summer. So we'll see how that affects our summer reading. I haven't really said that to students or not. I just said, do your reading. So, but we've sent all the information to students. We've sent information on how to use Beanstack. We've put it on Twitter. We've put it on Instagram. I've sent emails. The middle school has sent out information. We've ordered additional copies of all the books, especially ebooks and audiobooks. So we're hoping, it'll work out this summer as well as it has in the past.
And we've also ordered additional copies of the ebooks in anticipation that, some people won't be able to make it to the library this year. So thank you very much. We've got the information here, and I also put it in the chat if you want to see the rest of the Google Drive files.
Thank you both. Appreciate that. And actually, Christine, I'm gonna repost that because it looks like it just went to the panelists. So I will post that for you right now. And our next presenter is Kathy Wellington. And also, before Kathy, if you are you able to load everything up? But before we do that,
let's see.
Yeah, can you just the share screen button? But I also want to mention that we are doing great on time, and we should have the ability to do a bunch of Q&A. So if you do have questions right now and you want to load them into the Q&A spot, please do that. That would help. Oh, great, Kathy. Yep, looks fantastic. And then just hit the from the beginning exactly. Should go to full screen from there.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Kathy Wellington from the Lake Forest Library. I just wanted to say that this summer, our main form of collaboration has been behind the scenes. We listened and talked with the schools about what they were doing and hoped and offered to assist them. Our standalone library is relatively small, and it serves for the purpose of this presentation, a city of about 19,000 people. Lake Forest has 8 grade schools, both public and private, 3 high schools, again, public and private. Our schools have a strong, robust staff and the funding committed to both in-person and online schooling when necessary. They don't necessarily rely on us, but regard us as one more resource. And that's okay. We, the library, don't always have to be in front of the camera. Sometimes it's about supplying information to our colleagues that they can use. So pre-COVID-19, again, in the past, our collaborations consisted of in-person visits to the grade schools. A children's librarian would come in and we'd advertise our summer reading program. We'd hand out registration forms on paper, along with summer reading suggestion lists. One grade would always have a grade-wide read together book, Mr. Lemoncello's library. So we would always purchase at least 30 extra copies of that book for checkout at the library, and would also create a special shelving area and display. But the end of the school year this year, the schools and libraries all closed right around mid-March. So since then, our main form of collaboration has been in communication, shared information, and resource support. We all felt this was very important to help the parents and also to maybe ramp up our collaboration further down the road. Our schools are using online platforms such as School, and they're also mailing home information to parents at the end of the year and offering digital end of the year presentations. And I wanted to make sure that the library's presence was included in these documents and online resources. So right after we closed, our library closed right after St. Patrick's Day, right around March 17th. I started a regular correspondence with all of the area school librarians. I kept them updated with information about what our library was doing in response to COVID-19 and how we were getting patrons their materials such as ebooks. And after giving them information, then I asked, is there any way we can help? I always think that if you just start off, what can we do? You're only giving them half of the help they need. They need to know what you can do. So I started getting responses. Okay. Initially, the school librarians were suddenly very interested in how their students could access our ebook databases. We also have a film, we also use Canopy, but that's mainly film. So I emphasized these three. Sorry. They said that some of their databases were ending in the summer, also some of their databases. So I gave them quick tutorials to the school librarians who were then able to share this with the students. And it was a pleasure to see them suddenly appreciate the ebook resources that we've been promoting for years now. So as with everyone, it seems like with everyone else, our summer library program went digital this summer. We chose Read Squared. They, by the time we had decided to do this, they were offering a quicker setup than Beanstax for new users. So instead of getting to visit the schools this year, I sent information about the Read Squared program as we were setting it up. And then once we we're going to go live, I sent them a link so that they could share that link with their end of year presentations that they were giving right around the first week of June, I think like last week. And I noticed that the couple of days after, I think most of them did present, our summer sign up zoomed way up, which was great. So people were listening and then following up. So our different schools use different guided reading leveling systems, especially the elementary grades. They use both the Fontes and Pinnell guided reading, and other schools use the accelerated reader. We have already created lists of books our library owns at the different guided reading and accelerated reading levels. And during the summer, those are both very popular readers advisory questions. Show me these books, and we've created lists and display areas. So we don't have that right now, but what we did do was make sure that the schools had our most up-to-date listing of what we owned. And they could then, I sent them files, and they, I believe, did send home written materials with the kids. So they could still include the appropriate reading level lists to the kids and their families. And now that we have started curbside collect and other services, they can still request books at the appropriate reading level for them. Okay, summer always brings a lot of young people coming in for their first or their first library card. So now Lake Forest has been issuing temporary cards online. We shared this information and a link to that card on our website with the schools. And the middle school especially made sure that it was part of their summer reading website information. And so that way, especially the older kids who, you know, might want to pursue things on their own won't be denied access to anything we have. It's a simple online form through our website where our circulation manager vets the application, emails the patron with a card number, and tells them how to create a password. And then hopefully once we're open again, they can come in, provide proof of residency, and actually get the physical card. So this summer, as soon as the library closed, we thought about how to increase our e-collection. We subscribe to Cloud Library, and though in the past we supported summer reading by getting additional print books, I went ahead and really sort of tweaked the collection development budget and reversed and got as many more e-titles as I would have print titles. One grade did continue their standard summer reading assignment of memoirs. So again, rather than just having a couple of shelves of them, I went in and just made sure we could offer them as many ebooks as were possible. Now, this might be, again be changed because now it looks like library is going to be reopening before the end of the summer, or at least now we can at least give the kids and their families curbside collect, which is what we're calling our drive-through service. But we felt that it was important to immediately give kids access to the titles for their summer reading assignments, whether it was through ebooks or print materials. Then, we normally don't have book clubs in the summer, but our teen librarian decided that she wanted to hold a virtual book club, mainly to help keep kids connected, and also help them in their summer reading assignment, because they have to report on the books they have chosen to read. It was very successful, and as you can see, she had the club back in late May before the most recent tragic death of George Floyd, but she picked the perfect book, and she was thrilled by the response. The club was well attended, and the kids had a lot to say. So with serendipity, it was a really thrilling moment for her. So I just like to wrap up and encourage libraries, even if you don't have a strong relationship or liaison or presence with your area schools, just keep on trying. I think keep stepping up, keep communicating with the schools and the staff there. And again, sharing information, offer them things. And the more you offer, I think the more responses you'll get. Just remember that, anything you can offer them that will help them do their jobs better is what they're looking for. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, and you can stop the share. Great, and I will. Perfect, and I will share my screen again. Okay, and this is the point we're at the Q&A. So remember, you can put your questions into the question and answer box on the toolbar, and you can also upvote people's questions. So we do have a question. Thank you so much. This is from Angela. The question is, both Christine, Aimee, and Kristy shared that they are able to offer books from the public library to students who are in unincorporated areas. Do they provide temporary cards to these students? I also have a small area that is unincorporated in my school district. Thank you all. I love all of the collaborations. Let's see here. Karen, Kristy, do you wanna jump in first on that one?
Sure. So we have an intergovernmental agreement with the school district, which allows us to offer all of the teachers' library cards. So our workaround before COVID was that teachers were sharing their card numbers with the students who lived in the unincorporated area. And then during the quarantine, we were offering digital library cards for any child who was enrolled in a district school. I'm hoping that we can carry that into next year, but that's a board decision. That's not my decision. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
And,
oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, Christine, Aimee.
Yes. And I have a question specifically about that right now for my circulation director and also with youth services. I know at the library, we allow students, if they show us their school ID, that they can get on our computers and use our computers within the building. And I know we've also offered Batavia Public Library cards to teachers, so it may be the same arrangement that Kara was just talking about. But I will double check and see what else we're offering to students who live in unincorporated areas.
Great, thank you. We still have time for questions if anybody has questions. Looks like we've answered all theirs. So remember, you can put the questions into the Q&A tab. Also, if you want to chat them, we'll answer them. We did have a question about PDH, and I'm sorry that we're not offering PDH credits for this particular event. But you know, please do keep those questions coming if you have any.
Dan, can I jump in on that question about serving
Absolutely.
the
Please.
district? So at Indian Prairie, we do have an area that is not within the library's immediate districts, and several of the schools may individually, or the school district might be in that. So over the last couple of years, we've been really lucky, again, to do that intergovernmental agreement. And we've been able to provide the teachers or the librarian, the school, with a Indian Prairie library card that they can use to have access. And then in addition to that, several of our schools have been, we've been able to offer them database only cards, where then they're able to share database access with their students and with the teachers. Even over the summertime, it was one of the things that the teachers had asked if that would be an option for some of the summer learning that a few of our schools are doing. And so we're able to open that up as well. And again, we're hoping to be able to extend that next year too.
Great, thank you. Yeah, there's some chat coming in as well. Julie says, my public libraries offer summer reading cards for a $5 fee. In the past few years, the school has paid the fee for any student who enrolls as not in the library's district. Yeah, thank you. That's great. I love hearing those stories. Okay, another question. Okay, this is great. From Michelle. For ebooks, do you generally have to purchase multiple individual copies? Yeah, a lot of you mentioned ebooks. Or is there a particular platform that offers many popular multi-user titles? Does anyone want to jump in on that to start?
Well, at least I purchased, when I went ahead and purchased summer reading ebooks, it all depends on the book, whether you can get multiple copies or not. I tried to get multiple copies of each book, but some books just don't offer multi-user titles. So I tried to get at least 3 or 4 copies of each book. And what's nice on at least Access 360, and I'm sure the other ones, it tells you how many days it's going to be. It tells you, you know, that you're on hold for it. So kids can put books on hold and usually get it within a couple weeks. It's usually not a problem. And I bought copies, and I know Christine bought copies. So, but it's all about the publisher, is my understanding, whether you can get the multi-user titles. Someone else might know more about that than I do.
I know Hoopla offers more options in terms of lots of people being able to pick out items, but their selection is kind of quirky. And I don't think we purchase anything through Hoopla, any additional titles. I think we just purchase Overdrive materials primarily.
Yeah, our library has a Hoopla account subscription. And the reason that we don't install that on the iPads at the school is because it also offers movies, and we don't want kids watching movies in class.
I might be wrong about this, but I believe Hoopla is pay per checkout. So very different pricing model, and difficult to budget for.
Yes, there is a Hoopla version specifically for kids. So there is a way to set it so that children can only see the titles that are listed as, you know, kids movies and so forth. But even so, they might still be watching movies in class.
Actually, the Two thoughts. One, I did talk with our ebook librarian who manages the library's Overdrive about multiple copies. She had said that she can petition Overdrive if any of the teachers are looking for a multiple user setup. We haven't had to explore that, so I'm not exactly sure how that might work. And with Hoopla, one of the things is the library itself had set up how many items a patron could do over this COVID closing time. We've expanded that quite a bit. And one thing we did do, and I know it's different for a school, was one of our programs was a movie to book. So we did a screening of they could screen during a week whenever it was convenient, Secret of NIM, and then we talked about the book and we posted some questions that they could do on Flipgrid. So, so there's some options to explore, maybe.
Yeah, great, thank you. And I also want to acknowledge, I believe it's Leona says Hoopla price points are up to individual libraries. You can choose number of checkouts and change to increase or decrease on a monthly basis. So thank you for that information. Yeah, that's great. Okay, while we were talking, we had a couple more questions come up, which is great. So this is, I think this is kind of in line with the question about ebooks, but Andy asks, does anyone know how much a subscription to the summer reading apps mentioned, i.e. Beanstack or Read Squared, cost? Is anyone willing to share that information?
Offhand, but I can certainly put in a question right now and ask. I don't think it's cheap, which is why we sort of balked at it at first, but I think we decided that if we're going to go all virtual, that it was a good choice for us, and they do have very good customer service. It just was a lot to take on right before the start of summer reading.
Okay. Read Squared was less than Beanstack. What we didn't like about Beanstack was that it required a 3-year commitment. And as I wasn't the actual purchaser, but from what I remember, it was something between $200 and $300 initially. And then there were also extra modules you could purchase, but that's sort of a rough price point there. Read Squared only would let you just go for 1 year at a time for a couple hundred. Beanstacks wanted a 3-year, like $800 commitment kind of thing. That's just very rough.
Great, thank you. There was a question about e-read that I think I missed. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. Okay. So Angela asks, regarding student access to Access 360, does anyone have experience in setting access for K through 5? We have Access 360, but we have struggled with limiting access to K through 5 for appropriate titles and Destiny Discover. Oh, sorry. She says, I'd love to speak to you another time. Thanks again. Okay. Well, if anybody wants to connect with Angela, please do that. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions unless I missed anything. Okay, well, I think at this point I'm going to turn it over to Becky to kind of close us out here. Becky?
Okay, wow. I mean, I am so impressed with what is going on in your libraries and how you guys have stepped up to the challenge and kept a positive viewpoint. I think that's so important, you guys. I mean, yes, we're going through some troubling times and who knows what the fall is going to look like, but what you've started to build on, I think is really a great model for everyone. Yes, there's costs involved. Yes, we might have to manipulate budgets and do some things, but I'm really seeing some positive things come from this, and the tips you guys gave and and the working together and partnerships, spot on. I mean, really, if you are a public librarian out there and you haven't had much maybe luck for reaching out to some of the school librarians, I hope you won't give up. I hope you will continue to reach out. Sometimes it's just they're a little stressed certain times and they might just not have the time to talk, but hopefully over the summer, maybe you guys can make another effort. And those of you school librarians out there, you know, fall is coming, and a partnership with the public library and with the youth services person or the teen librarian, it's a win-win. And I really encourage you guys to see, you know, not only what they can give you, but how they can help you. It's all about keeping our students engaged, and that's got to be the #1 goal. And you guys are making it happen. Really, I'm so impressed. I want to thank you so much for today. And I know that the people who registered will get this recording and maybe, you know, be able to go back and kind of, because some of your slides, they were just so engaging. And thank you so much. And just a quick thanks to Kara and Kristy, Monica and Diane, Christine and Aimee, and Kathryn, and Dan for helping to set this all up. I mean, yay for you and for all that Rails does to you know, to help. And a lot of it's behind the scenes, but we really appreciate it. ISLE is very appreciative to have Rails as a partner, and also Heartland in the southern area of the state. We really look forward to doing more partnerships with the systems. And, you know, thanks again for everyone for being a part of this.
Thanks everyone. Have a great Wednesday.
Bye-bye.